So, we're going to do Kadeem. We're going to do a 15-second countdown, and then Vinny Bronco's going to do his thing. All right.
FYC the show, Vinny Bronco.
Repercussion.
Just Heck,
Miss
a.k.a.
Murder.
Neo.
Oh,
What? Sorry.
we stepping on toes today. That's what's going on.
My bad, boss. My bad, boss.
No.
I mean, speaking of stepping on toes.
Actually,
heard
I
somebody's-
actually just changed my name to Just Neo Heck. So,
But I like
either
Just
way.
Heck.
Just Heck, I know that's the producer name for the most part. But welcoming Miss Murder,
Thank you
a.k.a.
very much.
Miss Griffin.
Back in full effect. Word up.
All right.
All right, Reed, what you were saying about toes?
We stepping on toes here and there, and we know cinema is stepping on toes as well.
Yes.
Got some cinema
definitely.
toes?
Cinema toes. Yes.
Cinnamon toast.
Cinema toes.
We ain't talking about that live action Barney movie. We gonna skip over that.
How does that-
Come on.
So recently.
Okay. Wow.
So recently.
That escalated quickly.
It was funny because I was reading my feed the other day, and I was like, I know that you guys had the topic. Well, Miss Murder came up with the topic. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Came with
okay.
You're
her
welcome,
cards
you're
and
welcome.
everything. Very, very prepared.
Cue cards, try to
Yeah.
get us to memorize our lines.
Which
But,
were not used.
Right. So I was reading my feed, and Martin Scorsese popped up. So we all know who Martin Scorsese popped up. I mean, you know who he is. I mean, he's world-renowned director. It was funny because he was once criticized himself for making controversial films and such, and he had the nerve to diss Marvel and DC movies. He said that they were not cinema. They're shown at a cinema, mind you. Okay, I mean, so to say that it's not
So
cinema.
when you go to a theater and you sit down and watch a Marvel or DC movie, you're not at a theater.
Right.
You're not in a cinema. You're not in.
You're not actually watching a movie. This is all an illusion.
So
And
pretty
then
much,
the green lines come down from the Matrix.
Oh, no
So-
way.
and then he went
Mysterio
on-
was there?
Yeah. So he goes on to say
Guess
that.
so.
He goes on to say that Marvel movies in particular, because they are the more successful of the two brands right now. But he goes on to say that Marvel movies give off a theme park effect in the movie theaters. That it's not that they don't convey psychological emotion, and there isn't no. Yeah, I mean,
I've seen people cry during Marvel movies.
so you got the
I did.
thousands and thousands of people that cried at Endgame.
Yes.
When they
not,
saw,
not just Endgame.
when they
Infinity
saw,
War.
yeah, but when they saw all their favorite character died off.
When I
and
saw
get-
Black Widow.
How many people cried when so many people got
Right.
busted?
Spoiler alert.
that wasn't emotion apparently.
No, of course
I
not.
don't know.
I mean, but being chased by
Right.
a T-Rex
Yeah.
that doesn't exist,
Right.
it's emotional.
Right.
You get
It
that
is
rush.
very emotional to
get that rush.
Because when I saw the T-Rex chasing me, I cried.
I was in tears.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's-
I am
yeah.
now. If you
Cinema
can tell.
tears.
Yeah,
I mean, I
It's-
feel these Marvel and these comic book movies. I want to refer to them as because I don't want to signify whether Marvel, DC, but
Well,
these comic book movies
I
alone.
think that that's the problem though, because they are movies. I think Marvel, and we've said this at a previous show, Marvel has become successful because you're able to pull movies. And I love Kevin Smith. He was in Mallrats. He's been in a bunch of movies. He's the fat white dude with the beard that he's a
Silent
comic book.
Bob.
Yes, he's
My
Silent
man,
Bob.
Silent Bob.
Shout out to Silent Bob. He's definitely. But he was like, he was like, and everyone was respectful in disagreeing with him. But he was like, there's times where, I went to the movies, and I went to the movies with my dad, who's no longer with me. I went to see Star Wars and all the, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And, I go to see now these Marvel movies, which are great. And it's like having my dad there with me. And this is a guy, it's like you're talking about there's no emotion. And I know plenty of people that have those same emotions when, it comes to, these things.
Only thing I'm thinking only thing I'm thinking is it only comic book movies or are graphic novels involved too? Are we talking about book movies?
like
Right.
Harry Potter and
Because those are based, like, we got movies based off of books.
Right.
A comic book is just a different type of book.
Right.
Or maybe
it's
he
not
has
it's
the.
not one of those novels. It's each chapter is broken down to separate,
Right.
separate illustrations.
Right.
Or maybe he has the mentality that some grown-ups people have on superhero movies, that they are for children's, not for adults. So maybe they feel that maybe for a child, the movie is okay, but for us as an adult,
Call me a grown child.
call me a
I got my hand
But
raised, big
child.
child.
But at the end of the day, he said it's not even cinema.
Right.
So he never said that, like,
So
Aladdin
maybe he
wasn't
probably,
cinema.
Maybe he feels that it's something they should play in a library or something. I don't know.
I think it's a tribute to
I've
the
seen
fact that
Harry Potter movies played in the library. That's cinema.
I think it's more a tribute to the fact that Marvel has taken over movies in terms of the box office.
Yeah,
So you talk about
Other
bucks,
movies have to step their game up,
Right.
basically.
So-
If you're going to do an action movie, you have
Marvel
to do
took-
better than
yeah, Marvel
Marvel's been
said-
doing.
He's a
Marvel-
director,
Yes.
so maybe he
well-renowned
feels some
director.
type of way that the Marvel never invited him to direct one of the movies.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
honestly,
he's
when
just
it comes
jealous.
down to it, you think of there have been great movies that have been overshadowed of the Marvel effect, so to speak, because of the fact that there isn't an Iron Man or a superhero. There's been a couple of movies that I've watched that I was like, oh damn! Like, unfortunately, I didn't see it on Showbox, but I saw them, where I saw them and
TNT?
Yes, TNT. And I was like, man, this would have been a good movie to watch. You know how many movies have we talked about that? He was
Yeah.
like,
Nah,
yo, that
definitely.
movie would have been dope. But I saw it at home, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? So it's
There's a lot of movies where a lot of people don't have the funds to go see all the movies they want in
Right.
theaters.
That is true.
That's true.
Like, but there's times where we went and we was like, oh, we're gonna go see the Marvel, because we get a big group.
So the Marvel movies have brought us together as a clan regularly. Like, we
Yeah.
don't go to see every Marvel movie when it comes
It's
out.
not just
but
Marvel.
we
It's
go
just
to see.
it's comic book movies in general. Whether it's Marvel, some of us are DC. I've spoken to people who read some Image. It's a lot that come together, and it's saying that it's not just because it's Marvel and DC. We also forgot that Spawn made a movie.
Right.
It was in cinema as well. Blade was
that
a
a
movie.
movie?
right.
Blade was a movie. It was in cinemas as well. Are you taking those away as well?
Right.
Because we could go back.
There
a
was
lot.
emotion in both Spawn and Blade.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot.
Spawn lost everything. Died, went to hell, came back.
Yeah.
They
Lost
do
it.
send a great message, all of them. I feel all superhero movies do, especially when it comes to showing one of the heroes that he's not alone, that we're a team, that we all do it together. It
Yeah,
sends a
it's
message
always-
to the kids. To me, it shows something.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go back to when you had Cap and Iron Man fighting.
Right.
Oh,
And
yes.
after everything, Cap goes, he sends him a phone and he says, if you ever need me for
Right,
anything,
right.
call me. This doesn't break us up.
That was amazing.
It's just we're on different sides.
That was
but I still have your back.
an emotional moment.
And
Yes.
right now, speaking about it, I get goosebumps on my back of my neck.
I get goosebumps about the elevator scene, but we don't need to talk about the elevator scene because we talk about
and
that
it's-
sometimes.
It's
Don't talk
something
about it.
where
You're
you
gonna get
get,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
it's something where you get kids and
Nah,
everything
the
going
elevator
on.
scene, it does not need the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And
I think that for me, like the part that was the most emotional was seeing Hawkeye and Black Widow fight over who
Who's
was
gonna
going
die.
to die.
Yeah.
Like this guy
It was-
has kids and a wife, and he was willing to give all that up so she could,
Well, they
be
were
the
dead
one
at the
that
time.
made it.
Yeah,
so that's what made
but-
him.
but that
her
is true.
thought was,
They gonna
we're
come
gonna get them back.
Yeah,
Yes.
You know,
his thing
right.
was, well, if we're not gonna get them back, I can be with them. But her
Yes.
thing was,
Yeah.
I got faith in you guys. We're gonna get them
Of
back.
course.
You
Yeah.
have to stay
In
here
her
for
eyes,
them.
we were gonna get him back.
Yeah,
so
there
you
was
gotta be
no
here for your
if, there
kids.
was no
Nah,
buts,
fuck.
there was,
For him, it was like, I can't lose you too.
Yeah.
I lost everything.
And
All I
can't-
have is you. If I lose you,
it doesn't
I
get
have
more emotional
nothing.
than that.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because you look at Scorsese's films and he's primarily successful with like gangster movies and stuff like that. And yeah, gangster movies show emotion and you talk about, the range of characters and stuff like that.
At one
But,
point, they
yeah,
owned the cinema.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
You had
that
The
the
Godfather,
Marvel
Scarface,
movies
all of them.
sure, some of them are a bit of a cookie cutter, like Doctor Strange, great visually, but was a cookie cutter of like the Iron Man, or you could say it was, there was bits and pieces of other movies in it, because you have the guy who loses everything, goes through great plight, and then comes out great, or actually at the end of Doctor Strange, he isn't great because he's still dealing with the hand thing. Yeah. But he showed
learned
him
to overcome.
Right.
He had a disability and he overcame. Right. It showed those kids out there and those people who have disabilities, like, it doesn't matter your disability, you can overcome it if you try. Right. If you work at it, you can do it. And that was something that touched a lot of, I know it touched a lot.
I can't remember the name of it, but there's something that Marvel is doing with actual kids with disabilities and things like that. I can't remember the name offhand right now.
I remember seeing one where Robert Downey Jr. came, a kid that lost his arm.
Right.
And he paid for them to make an Iron Man arm for the kid. Right. His prosthetic is the Iron Man arm.
That's dope.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Until he gets older.
Yeah. It's like
little arm. So we walk around looking like a scary movie dude.
But
Iron Man arm.
To think about it, like, there are a lot of things, like, it's very emotional. Now, you said earlier, maybe he thinks it's just for kids. A lot of the grown-ups now were kids that read comics, watch these cartoons.
So it's even more emotional for them because they spend their childhood reading these on paper,
to see
and now
it come to life. It's like, wow.
I knew Marvel had a different pulse on things when we went to see Avengers. And the whole time, how many times did I get shushed in that movie? Because I kept looking at him like, yo, did you fucking see that? Like, mad loud. I'm like, yo, fucking see it. And he's just shaking his head like, because I could see in his eye, he was like, yo, they're doing it. Like, the whole...
There are times where I saw...
When Iron Man is pushing the fan, and he's trying to, and then you got
that Hulk moment still gives me goosebumps when Hulk is like, that's my secret. And just turns around and always angry.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was the moment.
Like, you got Iron Man, Tony Stark gets tossed out the window, the suit grabs him, and then he's like, oh man, aliens, and he flies up, he's trying to fight them on his own, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, they took the comic and they did it. And with all the times they failed, with the Captain America with the wings and
the old ones. With the fur coat.
They failed a lot. They failed a lot, needless to say. But they were doing it.
It takes the time. Like, you have to, like I said,
and technology play a part too.
Definitely. But you have to continue going. Like, I want this to happen. It'll happen.
Right. And I just felt like Scorsese, I think, again, for in my opinion, I think it boils down to just the fact that, Marvel has banked so much. And so now, you have movies that, they do well. Like, The Hitman's Bodyguard, for instance, came out
was a really good movie.
And that was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Did it make a lot of money?
Saw it in
theaters.
I saw it in theaters, but honestly, I probably would have skipped it if I didn't get a phone call from Lady D, like, yo, we gonna go see this, and I'm like,
that was a funny movie.
It was great.
And
now when part 2 come out, I'm gonna see that.
Yeah, we definitely got to see that.
There's a lot of movies out there
that came out. Yeah. But of course, it's the Marvel engine that's kind of, and you
got to think about it. Every time, there's always a new era. Right now, it's the comic book era. When the comic books are over, it may go on to somebody else.
Right.
And
shout out to Kevin Feige for kind of, because when you look at it now, he's strategizing. You can kind of feel the comic book fatigue. So he's like, okay, we made $4 trillion this year. You know what I'm saying? Not exactly, but he made about $3-4 billion. So he's like, okay, we could chill. We let everybody else do their thing, come out, and then we got Black Widow comes out first, boom, and then
I like the whole that they're not trying to cram 4, 5, 6 Marvel movies in the box office. Yeah. They're spreading them out.
They let the last phase end.
It ended. They're giving the time break, and then it's slowly just we're gonna drop.
And
2,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of, at first I was like, Black Widow, like a prequel.
Excuse me.
And then I'm like, and then now I'm kind of like, yo, all right, Tony Stark's gonna be in it, and it's gonna be, they adding more stuff to the story.
Stark.
So they're like, okay, I'm like, and now like as I'm getting like more updates on it. it's like, yo, I kind of want to see this movie now. And by May, I'm gonna be like, yo, so you get the ticket yet?
I am looking forward to actually see that movie. So a little sidetrack. Speaking of movies, but this movie with Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, Hobbs and Shaw, yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw. Haven't seen the movie. I'm quite upset over the movie. I don't like.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'm feeling some kind of way about
Bias.
it because I felt that if anyone should have gotten a spin-off, should have been Vin Diesel.
Okay.
Or maybe they could have done Shaw and his brother. But I don't know.
Oh, that's what Tyrese got mad at, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I do
Tyrese
feel
got mad
that,
at
especially
that.
the fact of how much he pushed for the movie to come out
I
first.
feel like Fast and the Furious is pretty much Vin Diesel's movie, so him
Yeah,
getting a
so,
spin-off
yes.
would really
He
make
still got
sense.
paid.
To-
off of
But,
that one,
yeah,
though,
but
'cause
I
he's the
feel
executive
that
producer.
Shad and his brother and his crew should have been the one that should have gotten the spin-off instead of,
Didn't Shaw's brother die?
but they could have
No,
done it before.
he's not dead.
No, he's not. He's actually in
In the,
that
yeah,
movie.
in the
He's
hospital.
actually in that movie.
And I remember at the when Shaw started
Yeah, he was
everything,
he was alive.
he was there in the hospital speaking to his brother, and when he walks out, you see everybody in the hospital
Yeah.
dead. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, I
He's
forgot.
like,
about
one way
that.
I'm gonna see my brother if I gotta kill everybody.
Is
So
that
I
like a
felt
spoiler alert?
I actually
You had
saw
not seen the movie.
Hobbs and
Yeah,
Shaw.
we saw it, unfortunately.
if you haven't
But
seen
yeah.
the movie,
I haven't
apologize.
seen the movie.
It's not the best movie ever, but
And,
it
I,
was,
and I'm
it's okay.
surprised.
I just think that
I
the
heard it
spin-off
was a
should
good
have.
movie.
Look, The Rock did. I keep calling him The Rock. I've always called
It's
him The
okay.
Rock.
He's the
Dwayne
Rock. He's
Johnson.
known as
He's
the
the
Rock.
He did a good role in Fast and Furious when he came, but I felt that it was not so great for him to have a
Why did
spin-off
Hobbs
from
and
it.
Shaw get hated on by
And,
Scorsese?
and then especially
Because it's cinema. That's cinema.
and then
Really?
especially the fact that when you see him in the Fast and the
Crazy.
Furious, he has this strong personality, but now
See,
he has a what is it called, a tribe that he goes back to, and he's doing all this
Well, the
silly
whole-
stuff
That
to
part-
where
that part was kinda whack.
The whole thing with
they always make him super silly, super dumb in his movies, and he's like really getting on my nerves
The
now.
whole thing about it is because The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is
He's everywhere.
He's a big face
He is.
in movies right now. Or
Yeah,
in,
he's the
in-
movie saver.
in cinema.
Because technically he
We
brought
gotta-
back the
yeah,
Fast and the Furious.
it's-
He brought it back.
It's in cinema.
He
kinda
did
did.
great. He did. He did
brought it
great.
back.
It was
But
amazing.
it's-
yeah. I mean,
If you
We're
get
in-
past him in a tank top and all
especially
the
that
baby oil
especially
in his
that part where
body.
he was like, "I'll see you later."
That's not why I saw the movie.
That's not why I saw it either.
Did you hear her comment?
I blocked it out.
There was a
I
tank
blocked
top
it
and baby oil. I'm good. Pineapples.
out. Anyhow, are there any last
His boy,
words?
that's it.
Because obviously we're
I
at
mean,
the point where
Yeah.
I feel
closing statements.
I feel Marvel and DC or comic book movies in general is cinema. If you grew up like that and that's what you look for, if it's in theaters, it's in theaters. It's a cinema.
I feel Marvel is cinema. To see, I don't know. That's a no whole.
I wouldn't
talking
hate on
about
DC
Washington.
because
They
you know,
doing
I don't-
great with their TV shows.
I don't
They're
like
doing
all of the
amazing with the
movies.
TV shows.
I don't like all of their movies. Like most of their movies are bad, but the Aquaman movie was good and the Wonder Woman movie was good.
Yes,
Those are the
definitely.
only
Oh,
movies I
Wonder
give
Woman
them.
movie was
Definitely.
amazing.
And the Dark
Aquaman
Knight
was.
Well, we're not
Classic.
talking about the Dark Knight.
That's
we're talking
something
about
else.
the
Oh, the
DC
universe.
Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah.
but what about
Batman is
Man of
something
Steel?
else.
Man of Steel was a great one.
Man of Steel was good.
I don't like
liked it.
Superman.
It was-
Man of Steel was a.
Yeah, it was
I give
pretty
Man
good.
of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman their
Because
dues.
again, there was emotional context at the end of that movie when he had to kill General Zod. He didn't want to do it. He kept trying to tell him, stop. He's pleading with this man
Yeah.
not to kill that family. And because he didn't want to do that. Because Superman technically has never killed anyone in the comic books. He always
Batman has.
Yeah, Batman kills a lot of people. He killed the superheroes at some point.
Yeah, he
But,
killed Superman.
So when you talk
The Green
about
Lantern.
you talk about emotional context, there was a ton of that in that last scene. The last those minute and 30 seconds, he's pleading with this man, please don't do this. I don't
And
want to
could-
kill you.
You could feel that emotion. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you would do the same thing. You'd be like, look, I don't want to take your life,
Yeah.
but please don't
force my hand.
Don't
Right.
force my hand. Don't
you know?
take me to that point.
And he forced
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
and to save everybody else, he did what he had to. And that's
it
anybody
shows you
would
a
do
great
that.
message.
Again,
You
got a
know.
last
Anybody
comment?
would do that.
I don't know, man. This is just kind of weird that he would feel like it's not cinema. This is the era we're in right now because they've been doing rehashes of graphic novels and comic books and stuff like that for a while now. I love the movies. I feel like they're great cinema. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Miss Meredith?
I love the movies. I think they're amazing, and
It's cinema.
I love them. I cried in a few of them. Doesn't get any worse than that.
I get goosebumps. I don't cry, but I've gotten goosebumps
That's what you
a few
say.
times.
That's what you say.
So, Mr. Scorsese, on behalf of FYC, we feel like you are incredibly wrong. And furthermore, to say that they are not cinema,
I feel like he's being biased.
it sounds like a hater. To be real. He sounds like a hater.
Like I said, he couldn't direct one of the movies, so he's upset.
But at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their
They
opinion.
are.
That is his opinion.
That is
his opinion.
I'm going to take his opinion like a grain of salt, sprinkle it on my chicken. All right, this is FYC The Show. Vinny Bronco.
Repercussion.
Just heck.
Miss Murder.
We out. Peace.
Peace out.
Deuces.
Thank you for
was dope.
coming.
You guys ready to do some promo shots?